Good afternoon. I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome to our webinar covering the Insight Advisor chat today. If you've missed any of our previous webinars, the last one was covering data alerting. Please contact us at Ometis, as one of us will be your account manager, and we can help send over the replay link to you as well. So we'll be going through a brief overview of the Ask Insight Advisor, its capabilities, followed by a demonstration by my colleague Matt Mild today, who will be showing you how it all looks and how it works as well. So just backing up everything that I go through today in our presentation. And then, we'll have some time at the end, about maybe 10 minutes, just going through some questions that you might have that have come to mind during the presentation as well. If you have questions, please feel free at any point during the webinar today, just to pop them in the chat box, and then my colleague Neil, who will be hosting the Q&A at the end, will be helping you address any questions or queries that you've got as well in regards to the functionality. So for the purposes of this webinar, we will be demonstrating the Ask Insight Advisor chat to you today. This forms part of the Qlik SaaS offering, and it's not the Insight bot that you may have already heard about and seen during previous demonstrations and conversations with us at Ometis. If you want to know more specifically about the Insight bot, please do let us know, and we will help you go through that information as well at a later date. But hopefully you will have joined us on our previous webinars about the licensing model, where we talk about the different kinds of deployments that you might have, whether it's a client managed deployment, which is traditionally known as on-prem, where you're managing the infrastructure of your Qlik Sense environment, or the SaaS deployment as well, where you are handing over all of the management of infrastructure to Qlik, where you will be able to get the Ask Insight Advisor capability as part of the functionality. So if you are a SaaS subscription customer, this functionality will be included already as part of your subscription. However, if you are a client managed customer on subscription, then you still will be able to benefit from the Ask Insight Advisor. However, there is an additional cost to your subscription to be able to benefit from this functionality, and also other bits and pieces that we have covered in previous webinars as well for you. The Ask Insight Advisor enables its users to interact.
Sorry to interrupt. I don't think your slides are moving on.
Are they not?
I don't think so. I think
okay. Which one can you see?
We can see the starting one in orange.
Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Sorry. Not particularly sure why that's the case. Let me see if I can change things around for you. I might just need to stop sharing my screen and start again. Sorry, folks, this is the beauty of live webcast. So just give me a second while I sort out this technical issue. And I don't really know how to do
Matt, if you could just sing us a song in the meantime, that would be great.
Any requests at all? Or?
We'll have a think about it. Maybe we could put it into the poll.
Yeah, please help me out, guys, while I figure this out.
Well, I don't think it matters. It's some slides, isn't it, at the end of the day? So yeah, just run us through the chat so that we can understand what's in there. And then there you go. You're nearly there.
What can we see?
Not a lot at the moment. We could see your PowerPoint, and then it's disappeared for me.
Right. Is it back up?
It is. Yep.
Yep. Great.
Yeah, you're there.
Okay.
Yep.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Neil. Sorry about this. I do apologise for that. I didn't actually see what I'm presenting. So yeah, I'll start again very briefly. So as I was saying, if you are a SaaS subscription customer, the Insight Advisor chat that we will be demonstrating today is included as part of your subscription for no additional cost. If you are an on-premise / client managed customer on subscription, then you can benefit from this, but there is an additional cost to benefit from this functionality. What we're going to show you today is how the Insight Advisor chat enables its users to interact with data within Qlik using natural language in the same way that you would ask maybe a colleague a question just by typing in a question via Slack or any other IM services that you're using. Or actually, another practical use case for you could be maybe integrating the Ask Insight Advisor into something like Alexa and speaking into the microphone as well, and asking simple questions such as show me sales, and the relevant information will come to you quite quickly. So it's a very good way of getting to your information quite quickly without actually having to delve in through various applications and dashboards if you are time strapped as well. But my colleague Matt will be showing you how that all works, and I'm just describing what we can do with it today. Before I do move on to the next slide, can we see the slide, Matt? Are you able to see it, Neil?
Yep.
Yeah, great, perfect. Some would class the Insight Advisor chat as a sort of conversational analytics tool, giving the more casual user, such as a business user or somebody in management, a simple way of asking questions when they don't use Qlik as heavily as an analyst would traditionally use it. It's a chat-based interface for querying data within any application that you have. So, you could be asking a very generic question, like I said, kind of show me sales, and whichever application does contain sales information will come up to you as long as it's relevant to the question that you've asked. So it generally helps you strip away that technical know-how and, can help you move beyond just looking through dashboards. It can actually bring insights to you very, very quickly, and it helps reduce that time to insights for you as well. So that's it generally from me in terms of what we can expect and what the Insight Advisor helps you do. I'll just be passing on to my colleague Matt now, who will be doing a demonstration for you, and he'll be able to show you exactly what I've described quite briefly for you, and show you how it would work in a more practical sense for you as well. So I'm going to pass over to Matt, who will be sharing his screen very shortly. And yeah, if you've got any questions, please let us know, and we're more than happy to answer them for you as well at the end. I think Matt's just trying to figure out which screen he needs to share as well, so he'll get to you very shortly. But I hope that everything I've said.
There we go.
There we go.
You
there.
were nearly on the singing again then, mate.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
You can see the just the Qlik Sense hub, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, welcome everyone. So my name is Matt Wild. So I'm a consultant here at Ometis as well. And today I'm just going to quickly give you a brief demonstration of the Qlik Sense Insight Advisor chat, and just show you sort of the capabilities and things you can do with it. So first of all, I guess, where do you find it? So on the SaaS version and on the on-premise version. So I'm using the SaaS version today, as you can see on my screen. And on the hub, it's in the same kind of place. So it's on the top right-hand corner. You've got this Ask Insight Advisor button. So it's really quick and easy to be able to get to. So you just basically click on the button to start with, and that opens up the Insight Advisor chat window to get you into that chat window to start interface to start actually asking questions. The next thing to talk about really is then how do you enable applications. So by default, none of the apps that you have in Qlik Sense, all the data and things are enabled in the Insight Advisor chat. So you have to go through and select a particular application and enable that chat feature. So to do that, I'm just going to quickly close that down and go into an application itself. So open this sales app, so one in my own area. And once you've gone into the application itself, it's a matter of then click on the app options. And then in here, you've got a toggle that which enables. So this is enabled because I'm actually going to demo this today. So I've enabled it before, but this just usually starts off as disabled, and you just have to come in and toggle it to enable. So really quick, easy process to get up and running with an application, to come in and enable it within the application itself. And something to bear in mind is when you want to do this, obviously the application has to be in your own area in an unpublished state to be able to enable it, and then you can publish it into a stream or into a space, and then that then will be available for your chat features. So once you've enabled the application, you can then go and click on the Ask Insight Advisor, and then it literally is a question of what do you want to ask it, and you can use quite natural language as much as you can to help sort of question what you actually want to use. So you can really start off by basic, and I'm just going to start typing in show me sales. And what you can actually see it's done, it's actually gone and found me sales, but actually what it's actually found sales is and give me a textual answer for that sales. But it's actually found that it's found an app, which is the Acme Corp Global Distribution app, which it's found that in. But actually, I'm not really wanting to focus on the sales in this particular app. I've got another app that I want to focus on the sales with. So what I can actually do is click on this apps at the bottom. And you can see now it's given me a list of all the apps where the Insight Advisor chat has been enabled. And I'm just going to click on the sales app because this is the one I'm really concerned with. So I'm now in this sort of sales app, and everything I ask questions with going forward will actually be focusing on the data within the app itself. So if I now type in again, show me sales, you can see the number is actually different because it's showing me 3.64 million, and that's different to the other one because that's in a different app altogether. So it's quite a good Insight Advisor chat to start with, is to see if you've got consistency against your KPIs across all your different apps, and if you're using the same measures and things across your apps as well. It also allows you to highlight any issues of data governance which you might not be following because you're sort of looking at the same what should be classed as the same version of the truth, but in slightly different ways. So Insight Advisor chat will enable that to see that quite quickly and easily. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go a bit further and say, actually, show me sales for last year. And what it's now done, it's actually applied a filter to my question, and it's now showing me the sales again in a textual way, and then actually giving me the sales, but it's actually applied a filter to say the order date is between January the 1st and December the 31st, 2020. So it's found a date in my data set in this particular application, and it's filtered that for me automatically. And then I can actually keep adding to this and say a bit more, so I can make a bit more context around this. And to do that, I'm actually going to use a microphone this time. So I'm going to click on the microphone. I should stop talking while I click the microphone for 1 second. Sorry, mic film. Yeah. So the microphone. All right, so I'm going to do that again, but I'm actually going to stop talking when I click at it. So show me sales for last year by item type. It's now found I've got a couple of apps that can be found in again. But you can see it's filled it in for me instead, rather than me typing that out. It's even understood my nice northern dialect, even though I talk quite quickly. It's picked all that up quite well. It's given me exactly the answer I want to do, and now you can see it's broken that down into the different item type, which is an attribute in my data set. It's now giving me the sales again for last year. I can also now apply filters to this as well to say, so I'm going to press on the microphone again. Show search by item type for drink. So drink is another attribute of my data set. It's like an item line, and that's now going to filter out my visualization a bit more, and it's giving me the answer now to say, well, the sales is now 237,000, where the order date is between those two dates, and my item now is drink. So I've added a couple of filters to this. I've added the broken down element of the attribute I want to do with this, and I've added the measure to be able to do that with, all by just typing in chat or talking to it and giving me the answer, and very quickly. I can also take this a bit further and say, actually, I want to explore these numbers a bit more, and I can click on these explore this further links below either the visualization or the context below. So either one of these will do the same thing. And you can now see it's actually opened up another application, another tab, taking me to the application itself where this answer was being drawn from, to my sales app, and it's taken me into the Insight Advisor in that application itself. And within here now, you can do what you can normally do with Insight Advisor. You can see it's passed the question through that I asked in my Insight Advisor chat. It's generated the visualization that you saw before on the previous screen. But now, because I'm in Insight Advisor, I can now make further selections and filter this down. I can also change the context of the question a bit more, so I can select the visualization it's provided me and go to the right-hand side and say, I want to change it from the item type to something like customer family. I can change the measure that it's using from the sales measure and make that maybe quantity instead. And I can maybe take one of the filters out there from my item line drink filter that I applied and take that filter as well. So I've changed the context of the question that I've asked quite significantly here. And then I can now add that to my sheet and create a sheet with that in my app itself. So I'm going to add these, come through the visualizations which are suggested to me. I can then go into sheet view mode, and you should see that I've now got a sheet now with those visualizations that have been pulled in from that. So it's a quick workflow. And I guess the whole concept shows you that actually you can go from asking questions to actually generating visualizations, which you can then go on and configure in a matter of minutes to be able to delve into that data to do further analysis. So now back into the hub itself. So just some of the things, I just want to go back into the chat and just show you some other features. So again, I'm going to go into Ask Insight Advisor. I'm going to filter this again down to my particular sales app. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on and say, well, show me quantity. It's another one of my measures in my application itself. So it's giving me the return of the quantity. That's all well and good, but that's actually quantity over all time. And rather than type the full question in this time, what I'm actually going to do is just say, well, actually, show me that for last week. And what the chat does actually is remembers the context of what you've searched for previously. So you can see on the right-hand side, it's now saying I searched for last week, and it's remembered the context of that. I was using quantity. So now it's showing me actually the quantity for order date between my 2 dates for last week. And I can take this even further and say, actually, show me by customer. So I'm not actually typing in show sales by for last week by customer, I'm just adding in by customer. And again, it's now remembered the context from before, and you can see my chat history, it's showing me the contacts were for last week and for quantity, and it's now added it and broken it down by customer instead. And then I can also add a filter into this and say, actually, show me for one of my customer sales managers. So I've got a customer sales manager called Martin McFly, and that actually will now filter out again. So you can continuously remember the context that you're searching in, allowing you to go further and further into your data set and filter that down as much as you want. You can also change the context as well about what question you're asking by almost like changing and giving it change value. So rather than showing it by customer like in here, I can say actually change this and show me by item instead. By changing by item, it's actually going to replace the customer and now break it down by the item instead. So I can now see my total quantity by item. You can see it's each individual item instead. And I can do this for all the different things that I've applied. So I can say actually show me for last year rather than for last week. It'll go away and keep generating those insights for me with all the context that it's remembered. You also have the option to show things like top values as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my context because I don't want to remember this context this time. So I'm going to clear my entity context here. Click on this X button. And then I'm actually going to say, show me top 5 items. I'm actually going to say, show me top 5 sales by item. Now it's actually within my application, it's gone back and found the top 5 items. So it's just limited it to the top 5. It's shown me what the top sale was, for which item it was. It's just giving me the name of the item itself. But it's only just showing me the top item. And again, I can change the context of this and say, actually show me for current year. So instead, so rather than showing it for all of time, I can change the context of that top 5 to the top 5 instead. Actually, it's just show me all the years. Well, you get the picture anyway, and then I can actually change it and say, well, actually show me the by customer, and then break that down by customer rather than by year in this case. So it's now showing me the top 5 customers instead for that. And the same concept exists where you can do it before, where you can just keep changing either the measure or what you're doing it by. You can apply filters to that in the same kind of way as well. You also have the option to use something to be able to compare measures as well. So if I say compare quantity and sales by item group for previous month. What it then does, because I've used the word compare, it's now comparing the two and specify the two measures. It's using a scatter plot to be able to compare those two for me. So it's generated a scatter plot for me there as well. And it's now, you can see each of the dots represents an individual item group. And again, I can change the dots representation to something else. I could change it by customer channel, or I could change it to another attribute. I could change the measures if I wanted to, and I can also change the where clause. I just keep adding those into my chat, but it's the same concept as before, so I'll just move on from that. And you can also do like a line chart as well, so I can say show sales over time for current year. and that the overtime kind of function will now generate a line chart for me, and you can see it's now generated for the line chart to show me the sales over time. And again, I could apply where clauses and things if I wanted to after that as well. The other thing you can do is apart from searching and using the search, like typing in, you can also use the functionality where you can make selections within the actual chat. So this does allow you to do it where you select on the app itself. So I can select app that I'm almost searching within. So I can select like sales. And then what it does, it gives me a list of all the measures within the application itself. And from here, I can say, actually select a measure. So I'm going to do the quantity this time. And what it'll then go and do is it'll then generate the result of that for me. And it's still doing it over time because it's remembering the content from before. What I can also do is, rather than using the visualization supplied, I can go to the suggested options available below and actually click on this and actually give me a listed few different options that will allow me to start generating different insights as well. So you can use these suggested insights to generate insights for you as well. And these are questions which probably weren't there before. So if I go into apps and then go into the customer goods sales, and then I go into like, I'm looking for something like revenue, you can now see it's giving me the return of revenue, and it's giving me 8 suggested options available. So I can click on this, and it's generating insights for me. So I can say, well, show me the revenue by year and month. So these are all things that it thinks might be quite useful. And that will now give me a visualization based upon what I've selected rather than having to search for it. So if you're not quite sure about what's in your app or what's in your data set, you can use that sort of selection method as well. And I can also go to the dimensions and say, actually, rather than breaking it down by the year month, I want to break the revenue down by maybe the state. And this is an American data set, and you can see what it'll do now is generate a map function there to actually show me the revenue by state, because it knows the state is using a geo point data set in the background for my data model. So you can do that as well within here. Linked to in the Insight chat, you can also use something called the vocabulary library. And to use that, I'm just going to quickly close down the close conversation and go into my app itself. And in the app, you can actually go into the prepare, so this is in the data part, and one of the options is vocabulary. And you can go to the vocabulary and actually start, and this brings you up the vocabulary library that's in there at the moment. You see there's nothing been set. But what I can do is start setting vocabulary that people can use to be able to for search terms in my Insight Advisor chat. So I can click on create vocabulary. So I might have an example where I say, when people refer to sales, actually there's different terminology for that in my business. So some people will call that revenue. So I'm going to type in revenue and then click enter. Some people might just call that a sale, and some people might actually call that income. So these are all terms that people might refer to when actually they're talking about my sales in this application. So I'm actually going to say, well, apply this now. So I'm going to select my apply and select my sales master item, which is the one that's got my sales value in it. And then I'm just going to click on the create. So what that will mean is that anyone searches for revenue, so total show me revenue, they'll actually find the terminology that's been used in this term and actually return me the sales instead. And there's the other thing you can do with the vocabulary as well, is you can also say like grouping of like values as well. So if you come in and say, I'm actually always searching for something like priority customers, and that always refers to like 4 different customers in my data set, I actually want to sort of set up which priority customers that might be, rather than having to type in where customer equals and list out 4 different customers every time. So I'm going to call this priority. If I can spell priority right. Customers. So that's my term I'm going to use. I'm going to say this applies to my customer field, and I want to do an in selection and say this refers to a customer called age, a customer called HMR, and then one called Zephyr. And just create that. So when everyone searches for priority customers, it'll only do like a where clause on those particular customers itself. So just click on the create. And then the last one as well is you can also do like a not in. So I can say, whenever someone searches for main item, I want to say actually my item itself, so my item description, my item group is not equal to seafood and frozen goods. So I'm going to click on the create there. So now I've created a few vocabularies. I'm now going to go back to my hub and just show you that you can use that in the Insight Advisor. So if I go into Ask Insight Advisor, in here now, if I filter it down to my application just to make sure it uses that app again, I can then start saying, well, show me income. So rather than show sales and show income, you can now see it returns the sales value, even though I've used the terminology of income instead. And again, I can then say, well, show me income for priority customer. So again, one of the things I added. And I must have tapped in the priority customer wrong because that's not worked. But I could do it for main item. So I could say show income for main item. And it's now returned with the sales where my item group excludes seafood and frozen goods. So it's actually filtered that down automatically by using that main item. So I must have typed in priority customers, spelt it wrong in my my vocabulary, which is why it's not worked. But you could fix that and then filter out as well. So just note for that, I'm actually running out of time and time's running a bit short. So that's sort of the demo for today. So what I'm going to do is now is hand over now back to Sharon, and then I guess you can take questions with Neil as well.
Yeah, thanks very much, Matt.
Matt.
Sorry, Sharon, go on.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say thank you and just look at the chat box to see if we've got any questions.
Yeah, we've got
Neil, can you see
one.
them?
I can, yeah. We've got one or two, not too many actually at this time around, which is quite good. And I think I can answer a lot of them myself. So one of the guys has asked if we can use it with Qlik View. And the answer to that, I'm afraid, is no. It is just Qlik Sense, and you know, that's a recurring pattern currently with Qlik, that a lot of the new functionality is going into Qlik Sense. Is it possible to use it on premise? Well, yes, Sharon covered that earlier. What you've seen today is the Qlik Sense SaaS offering, which is running on Qlik's infrastructure. But there is a version of this that will run on premise or in private cloud. There is an additional cost to that, so yeah, we will get back to you on that question as a one-off. Jill's asked, does the Insight Advisor take into account tags on measures? That's one I don't know the answer to.
I'm not actually sure on that. I've not actually tested that. I don't believe it does. I think it just uses the naming of the actual measure when you search from when I've tested it. But I haven't actually tested it with any tags, so that was something I have to go and test actually.
Yeah, and there is more functionality coming into it all the time, isn't there? It's yeah, the different chart types I noticed they've built up over time. And then Sam's asking, if a user asks a question via the Insight bot, will they only get answers based on their access rights?
Yes, I believe it will. So it was only for the apps you've got access to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And then Nick is asking, what are the main differences in functionality between Insight Advisor chat and the Insights chat bot already available in Qlik Sense on-prem? Wow, we'll have to I'll have to get back to you on that one, Nick. I don't think that's what I can answer off the top of my head. And we had very little exposure to that Insight bot before Qlik bought it. So yeah, bear with us, Nick, on that one, and we'll get back to you.
I can probably jump in on that one if you'd like, Neil.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Alex,
please.
I know I'm not officially on the Q&A panel. Yeah, so the Insight bot, is deprecated in favour of the Insight Advisor chat. So if you buy it on-prem, you get the same, very similar interface to what you've seen demoed today. So if you go and want to buy the conversational analytics piece today, then you get, Insight Advisor chat. If you had previously bought Insight bot, you get a license to Insight Advisor chat. In terms of the functionality, it's very much more kind of native, built into the product. There's no additional setup. All the permissions are synchronized, lined up. The configuration is all done within Qlik Sense and so on. So, I guess that, if you've seen it demoed before, the Insight bot, then that would have been kind of the previous version, but everything is now Insight Advisor chat. So, and it's very similar with the on-prem and the SaaS version of the two new products.
Yep. And that's about it for your questions. So if any more come to mind over the next day or so as you're thinking about it, then please do get in touch with your account manager, with myself, Sharon or Andy. But other than that, Sharon, back over to you, I think.
Thanks, Neil. Yeah, so we'll just wrap it up from now. Thank you, everybody who has attended. We really do appreciate it. If you've got any specific questions about today and the things that we've covered, do let us know. We'll be happy to take those conversations offline and get you on your journey with Insight Advisor Chat if you found it really useful. We all certainly like it here. And we will be having a few more webinars coming up. We're just finalising the details of those and the topics that we'll be covering. So we'll get some more details sent out to you. Other than that, thank you very much for joining again. And we will be sending out a replay link as well for you all to replay and see us again as well if you wanted to replay and listen back to what we've discussed. So thank you very much, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.